The sun beat down, an unforgiving gaze upon the parched earth of the African reserve. A symphony of cicadas hummed, a lazy backdrop to the quiet desperation of the dry season. Near a dwindling stream, a mother vervet monkey, her fur a dusty gray, carefully guided her tiny infant. The baby, no bigger than her palm, clung to her belly, its wide, dark eyes blinking against the glare. Thirst was a gnawing hunger, driving them closer to the water's edge, a risky venture in a land where every shadow held a secret. The mother, wise with the lessons of countless close calls, scanned the horizon. Her ears twitched, her nose testing the air for the scent of danger. For a fleeting moment, as her baby dipped its tiny face to lap at the cool water, there was a fragile peace. But peace in the wild is often just the calm before the storm. A flicker of movement in the tall, sun-bleached grass. A golden blur. Suddenly, the world exploded into a terrifying rush. A cheetah, sleek and lethal, burst from cover, its powerful limbs devouring the distance between them. The vervet mother didn't hesitate. Her survival instinct, honed by generations, screamed at her. She snatched her baby, a tiny bundle of fear, and with a desperate shriek, launched herself away from the snapping jaws, a mere breath ahead of death. It was a heart-stopping, primal dance, a mother's love pushing her beyond the limits of fear. The chase was relentless, a blur of speed and terror. The cheetah, frustrated but unyielding, pressed its advantage. With a final, desperate burst of energy, the vervet mother saw her only chance. A gnarled, ancient log, bleached bone-white by years of sun and flood, jutting out into the slow-moving river. With a final, astonishing leap, she landed precariously on its slippery surface, her baby still clutched tight. The cheetah skidded to a halt on the bank, a guttural snarl rumbling in its chest. Its amber eyes burned with frustrated hunger, locked onto the tiny, trembling figures on the log. The river, a murky ribbon, was just wide enough, just deep enough, to make the leap too risky for the big cat. For now, they were safe from the cheetah, but their island of hope was rapidly shrinking. As if fate itself conspired against them, a new shadow fell. From the opposite bank, emerging from a thicket of reeds, a magnificent lion appeared. Its muscular frame was the color of dried earth, its mane a fiery halo. It stalked to the water's edge, its golden eyes, intelligent and predatory, fixed on the vervets. The mother vervet watched in horror, the raw fear in her eyes a mirror of the despair tightening its grip. Above, the cheetah still snarled. Below, the lion observed. And in the murky depths of the river itself, dark shapes stirred. A ripple, another, a menacing scaly head broke the surface. A crocodile, then another. The log, once a refuge, was now a prison, surrounded by an indifferent, hungry world. Every passing second was a tightening noose, their small haven, shrinking with each ripple in the water. The air thrummed with unspoken dread. The vervet's desperate cries, shrill and piercing, were tiny whispers against the vast indifference of the wild. Could courage truly conquer the impossible when faced with such overwhelming odds? The vervet mother's cries were no longer just born of terror. They were a desperate plea, a raw, primal scream for help that carried on the wind, far beyond the riverbanks. It was a sound that, by all logic, should have faded into the background noise of the savannah, another casualty of the food chain. But in the vast, indifferent expanse of the wild, a single cry for help echoed, a beacon of distress reaching beyond species, beyond instinct, to stir something profound. Deep within the dense foliage of the nearby forest, a massive gorilla paused. His powerful hands, accustomed to tearing apart bamboo shoots and navigating the forest canopy, stilled. He was old, wise, and bore the scars of 100 battles. But in his deep-set eyes, there was a keen intelligence, a sensitivity that few understood. He heard the cries, not just as noise, but as a specific kind of anguish. A mother's distress, a child's terror. His species, normally solitary or living in tight-knit family groups, rarely interacted with other primates in such a direct, empathetic way. Yet, something in the vervet's frantic wails resonated deeply within him. Perhaps it was the shared vulnerability of life in this harsh world, or an ancient, almost forgotten instinct for compassion. He began to move, slowly at first, then with a growing urgency, a silent, powerful force gliding through the undergrowth, drawn by the desperate sound. He was not pursuing prey, nor was he avoiding a threat. He was responding to a cry for help. It was a rare, almost inexplicable act of empathy in the animal kingdom, a profound impact of a desperate plea. Who would answer such a plea? Who could even hear it? Discover the power of connection that transcends all boundaries. As the mighty gorilla drew closer, the unspoken question hung heavy in the air. Would this daring act of compassion be enough to defy the odds stacked against the vervet family? The gorilla emerged from the tree-line with a quiet majesty, a silent giant in a world consumed by sound and fury. His appearance alone was enough to shift the dynamic. The lion, startled, took a step back, its ears flattening slightly. The cheetah, sensing a new, formidable presence, let out a wary growl before melting back into the shadows. Even the crocodiles, masters of the water, seemed to hesitate, their cold eyes tracking the colossal ape. With every powerful stride, every purposeful movement, the gorilla didn't just approach a victim. It approached a shared destiny, a moment that would redefine what we thought possible in the heart of the wild. He lumbered to the riverbank nearest the log, his gaze fixed on the trembling vervet and her baby. It wasn't brute force, but an almost calculated grace that saw them through. He didn't plunge into the water, risking the crocodiles. Instead, he reached out a massive arm, surprisingly gentle. His long, powerful fingers extended, offering a stable, firm bridge to the distressed mother. The vervet, at first, was hesitant. Generations of instinct warned her against trusting such a formidable creature. But the terror of the converging predators, the hopelessness of her situation, pushed her beyond fear. With a silent prayer of desperation, she took a shaky step onto the gorilla's immense hand. The gorilla, with slow, deliberate care, began to draw her and her baby closer. It was a moment of breathtaking tension, a dance between predator and prey, rescuer and rescued. As the vervet and her baby were gently pulled from the log, the crocodiles below thrashed in frustrated rage, their chance for a meal slipping away. The lion, still observing, seemed to sag slightly, its predatory focus broken. Finally, mother and baby were safely on the bank, tucked behind the gorilla's massive body. The vervet, still trembling, looked up at her unlikely savior, a silent message of profound gratitude in her wide eyes. The gorilla simply watched the receding predators, then, with a soft grunt, turned and began to lead the vervet and her baby away, deeper into the safety of the forest. Prepare to be moved by an act of courage unlike any other. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, a gentle close to a day of raw drama. The dust settled, the predators receded, but the story didn't end there. It began a new chapter, whispering truths about resilience, kindness, and the quiet strength found in unexpected bonds. This incredible act of rescue wasn't just a single event. It was a powerful story woven into the very fabric of life, offering us profound lessons about empathy, courage, and the surprising ways we connect. This extraordinary event, witnessed by the silent trees and the flowing river, serves as a powerful reminder that even in the most perilous situations, empathy can transcend boundaries. It highlights the unexpected forms that help can take, proving that solutions often emerge from the most surprising places or through unforeseen connections. The vervet mother's resilience, combined with the gorilla's extraordinary compassion, paints a vivid picture of the quiet strength that exists in both giving and receiving aid. Just as the gorilla instinctively responded to a desperate cry, we too are often called to act with kindness in a world that can feel overwhelming. This isn't about grand, sweeping gestures, but about the small, often unseen acts of compassion that create ripples of hope. It's about remembering that even when faced with seemingly insurmountable odds, there are forces of good, connections waiting to be forged, and unexpected allies ready to emerge. In a world that often feels fractured, this story reminds us of the profound interconnectedness of all living things and the simple, yet powerful, truth that even a single act of kindness can change a life. If this story moved you, you won't want to miss our next video, where we explore another incredible tale of survival and connection in the animal kingdom. Join our community and share your own stories of hope and connection. Click here to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out.